G'day, welcome to another episode of Country Life on the Coast. Today's episode, we're going to do a contour survey of our property. What's a contour survey? Well, some people could possibly call it a topographical survey as well, but it's getting the layer or the level of your property drawn out on a map, on a plan. And what it does is it will show a change in level or the slope of your property. So our place is pretty flat, but there's a gradual slope, and so we need to determine that for future things that we have planned. And it's always a good thing to have drawn up, I reckon. We had the property surveyed, the boundary points surveyed before we did the fencing project. So now this is another step of getting the contours done. Like I said, that will just show us how uneven the property is really. So this is a plan that has contours on it, and I thought I'd use it just as an example because this isn't my property, but I wanted to just show people what a contour plan looks like. If you hadn't seen one before, this is what it is. So a contour plan has these lines on it that show the elevation changes basically. And so what we can see here is that each step here is a change of elevation, change of height, and if we look closely we can actually see that this is the highest point. It says 60 meters, and I think on this one every contour line is a 5 meter decrease, so this would be 55 meters, this would be 50, etc. And so when we look at it, these lines here that are quite close together will mean that it's very steep, whereas if we look at these lines here, the ground is actually flatter. So that's really what a contour plan shows. And what they need to do to pick all these up is actually walk around the property, and that's what the surveyor will be doing at my place, is walk around and pick all these points. So you'll pick up a few of the high points and then walk along and keep taking readings at all of these other points, and then the software they have will just draw it up and will then show all lines like this, like these contour lines here. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but in case anyone hadn't seen it, I thought I'd just show a bit of an example of what a contour plan looks like. Here in Australia we need to have a surveyor do this work. So I've got a surveyor coming shortly and we'll work through it. Hopefully be able to show you some more steps of what happens and how it's done. And we'll take you through that process. Okay guys, so the surveyor's here and just setting up everything for the contour survey we're getting done. So you can see behind me, it's like a theodolite. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it, I'm not a surveyor. But what it does is it takes all the readings, and I'll show you the other devices they're using, but it's pretty cool in the fact that there's a receiver that he's got as well, and it will basically follow him around, and so he can just take readings as it goes. So I would suspect a pretty expensive piece of gear, but very cool to watch, very precise, and surveyors have to be like that obviously. Going through picking up all the different pins or putting pins in as well, so they've got a few points of reference. So yeah, we'll continue this, I'll show you a bit more soon. So this is the main, I call it a theodolite, have to find out exactly what it is. There you go, moving automatically because it's connected wirelessly. So this is the first prism they was using. The robotic theodolite follows things that are shining, so it looks for the reflection from that prism and then it will just follow it. It's taking measurements now with a different prism, but it will follow him, it actually tracks them, which is really cool. So wherever he goes it moves, takes the reading that it needs, and then it should just follow him around. So we should be able to get these levels quite quickly now that we're set up. Whereas now when he moves it'll just follow this one. You can see it moving a little bit as he moves around. Very cool. So the survey's going really well. Just want to show you, this is the controller for the robotic theodolite that we're using. And this is the prism that he's been using. It sends out a signal that the theodolite will receive, and so it helps it track to pick up all the points everywhere. Okay. Very cool to watch this getting done. Shouldn't be too much longer and we'll be done, so yeah, very good. And you can see one of the pegs that they put in the ground with a nail on it, which will be one of our reference points for us in the future as well. Alright, so the surveyor has now finished and headed off. All done. It was an interesting process just wandering around, watching him keep taking all these shots at, you know, every sort of high point and low point, and then the gradual slope off as well. Like I said earlier, our property's fairly flat, but it does slope away out the back there. And so we had a quick look on his computer at all the points he'd taken, and it all looks pretty right. And there's about a 2 meter drop from actually just here to the very back corner, which is about what we expected, I suppose, so it wasn't overly surprising. So now we'll just wait for that to come through. He'll email me a plan of that, which would be good. And then we can move on with other things. But so that's a process I've never been involved with before and never seen people do it, but hopefully I've been able to share some information with you as to how it's done, what steps they go through, and yeah, hopefully you found it interesting. Very cool when you look at what equipment they have and how easy it is, because you know, he's trying to take shots through tree branches, and with that staff that sent the signal, a little bit of breeze would blow the tree branch out the way or the leaf out the way and it would take the shot. So it's all about having the right equipment, which, you know, is always the case, I suppose, with anything that we're doing. So, well, that's all we've got time for in this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and we will catch you next time. God bless.